Hey everybody, we are the FitHealth Pros. I am Coach Sean,
And I'm Dr. Kevin.
and welcome to our Best Health Series. Today we're going to focus on teens. What we're doing with this Best Health Series, it can be either a standalone or it can be progressive, depending on how many hours you got in a day or just your interests, or if you have family members that are included in each of these different decades. So we're going to talk about nutrition, exercise, sleep science, and stress management. And we want to hit about 3 to 5 different things on each of these 4 and give you tools for success.
Awesome. Well, I am the local teen expert since I have 2 teens.
It's true.
If you watched our last series of the Best Health Series, the first one with kids that are ages from,
Toddler to 10.
toddler
to
10,
12. Yeah.
Mine are 13 and up, so they aren't here now because one of them is probably sleeping and the other one is doing probably video games is probably the correct answer there. So what we did want to start with, let's start with number 1, which is nutrition. And we want to start that imprint of healthy eating. The teenagers are very important. So we want to start discouraging or fighting the fast foods cravings that they always have. Teenagers like to skip meals. And the other thing is kind of changing that body shaming aspect. So I think we don't want them to focus on eating for body appearance, but more for the nutrition, brain health, and things like that.
Overall health.
Overall health, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's really a good time to start the teenagers to bring them along with grocery shopping. That's going to get them involved with the meal planning. I think that's a big one, especially around our house. What are we going to have for dinner tonight? And if you do that meal planning, and instead of them going, what's for dinner? And they go, but if they're already in that planning, they know what's for dinner and they chose it and they like it usually.
They can help make it.
Absolutely.
That would be lovely.
Yeah. We like it when our kids cook. They get a lot out of it. It seems like my boys like to cook the desserts. So that's kind of where I started when I was little too. So you can't blame them. And there are good desserts out there, especially when they're made by your teenagers. What else do we find? I know that when my kids were in sports and in football, that the Gatorades and the Powerades were the drink of choice. Well, now as they kind of disconnect from the sports and they're doing more studies, maybe my older teen is starting a part-time job, they're sitting around a little more, even a Gatorade or a Powerade, which has less sugar than a soda, a little, but it's really not great for just drink after drink after drink after drink.
Day-to-day drinking.
Right. So water is usually number 1. If they want something that has a little flavor, you can mix the fruit juice and cut it, sparkling water, sparkling soda. They can get that bubbly in there too. We like to get different flavors, maybe create their own mixes and things like that. That's a fun time as well. Milk's okay. Get that protein. It just depends if there's allergies and things like that, so just be aware there. There are some supplements that we like to recommend as well, and keep in mind we're going to give you the links and a copy of this board so you can see. You don't have to memorize. If you want to take notes, that's fine. If you get something out of this, definitely hit the bell, like us. But the hormonal shifts, the growth spurts, we need to see an increase in calcium, vitamin D, get them outside, get that natural vitamin D, potassium, fiber, and protein. So usually, if they're only eating from the beige food group or the frozen food microwave section, they're not.
You're going to need something extra.
You're going to need something extra. But fiber is important. So if you can, early on, what we talked about in that kids section, to get them to try things, and try things not just once, but try things twice, and see if you can get them to start getting some kind of fibrous diet, even if it's only carrots or only celery. have them do different dips, and if it's Nutella and there's a little bit of sugar or chocolate in there, that's fine, because the fiber is the key that's going to combat that. So if you're seeing that your kids are eating M&Ms all the time or sugary drinks and nothing else to balance that, we need to get that fiber in there. Another big supplement for boys and girls is iron. So the boys, they're putting on lean body mass between the age of 10 and 17, and the girls, they need a boost as menstruation begins, and so that's important there. So I'm sure there's more with nutrition. We could go into different dietary guidelines for different weights, if your kid's trying to get on a sports team, or if they already are a heavy-duty athlete. There's a lot of that, so we'll put some links on there for you to gather some more information. But just from what I said, you can kind of, hopefully that spurs you to even go online and look into it a little more.
Yeah, and those links that we have at the bottom of this video also go deeper into this as well. All right, so second we're going to talk about exercise. So when we're talking about exercise in teens, and we could be talking directly to teens here or the parents of teens. So we're making these videos so that people that help a certain group or people within the group themselves. Mm-hmm. So when we're talking about teens and exercise, we're looking to form habits that are going to last well into adulthood. You're going to need at least 60 minutes a day, because during these teen years there's a lot of growth going on, a lot of hormonal shifts going on, like we had just discussed. We're looking to strengthen those bones, strengthen the soft tissues, the muscles, the tendons, the ligaments. This is the time for that. In doing so, there are different things that are happening today versus when Dr. Fox and I were kids. Not that we're complete gray hairs, but we're getting there. There's a lot of screen time that goes on from phones and tablets and laptops, etc., that we want to limit that screen time to 2 hours a day if possible. Now, not including school time. If your schools are implementing more screen time and you're utilizing the tablets within the curriculum, that's one thing. We're talking screen time on the outside of that, the social media and the Snapchat, the TikTok, whatever may be the hot thing in a specific day. Don't spend all that time. Replace that time with activity. That's going to help your overall health. It can help prevent obesity, high blood pressure, abnormal cholesterol levels. It can increase enthusiasm and optimism in your life. It can also help boost energy and allow you to get to sleep a little faster at nighttime. And speaking of sleep,
yeah,
let's go into sleep science.
We'll go into sleep science. I do want to interject also within the exercise, and as we were talking about that, it made me think that teenage years is one of the most important times to not only see the primary doctor for those changes, whether it's cholesterol or obesity, but also within a functional standpoint. So maybe look at the spinal health as well. So sometimes teenagers may have a thing called scoliosis, or they just may be weak. And I find 13 is a great age to get x-rays done of the spine, and which are very safe. The knowledge that you gain at that age is well worth taking a simple x-ray. And we find that then we can take that information and say, yes, your kid can go and play high school football, or be on the cheerleading squad, or play volleyball, or stand. The other thing with the tablets and the devices, we talk about that a lot, and the 2 hours, and Sean got there, was replace that with movement. And it's not, we all know it's bad. We all know that looking down, it's changing the posture. So we need to definitely reverse that some way, somehow, whether it's laying on the stomach and looking up this way, because if not, we're going to go right into adulthood with improper curvatures of the spine, rounding our shoulders, which, and I'll share it now because it's important for every one of the videos, you get this, you're losing inspiratory volume, which is decreased oxygen, decreased health. And that's really important, because if you don't have that oxygen to the brain everything else is thrown off.
That was some gold.
All right, I hope you like
I
that.
hope you like that one.
All right.
Hit subscribe. We got more where that came from.
Absolutely.
That was awesome.
So back to the sleep science. So sleep science is a little more statistical. Memorize this and repeat it back to us.
We're not asking much.
We're not asking much. So from 13 to 18 years old, 8 to 10 hours of sleep per 24 hours. It's okay for the teenagers to take naps. That's fine. Some of your teens may work at this time. Some of them are just coming off of schedules that maybe they're playing sports early in the morning and in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So that sleep is important for growth and hormone releases.
Reparations,
Yeah.
especially if they're playing that much sports.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to repair those muscles.
Got to definitely get that repair in. All the screens, back to this, wow, we keep on coming back to the screens. 30 minutes before bed, we want to have no screens. If I know my teens, which they're probably like your teens, or if you're a teenager, we keep ours in a different room, in a wall, charged up downstairs where they can't go and get them easily in the middle of the night. And so it's just too tempting. So we put them in a different room. If you have to even go a step further and lock them into a locked room, that has to be done sometimes too. But it's out of love, it's out of concern. There's really nothing pressing that a child needs to have their tablet or phone next to their bed at night.
Nope.
Getting serious. What else do we got? Prime time for body repair and growth. We talked about that a little bit. Manage their time on social media, the texting, etc. That does go back to even the kids section. You may monitor that. The kids want to have their privacy, but more than monitoring or taking their privacy away, look for signs of either cyberbullying, or if they're online or they're watching or talking about inappropriate things on social media. That can provoke emotional responses and anxiety, and that's going to disrupt their sleep and their repair.
Yeah.
We don't want them to binge sleep, and I've seen this with my teenagers. They'll try to make up, and I'm trying to encourage a nap. And right now, we're on break, and school's starting soon, but those schedules get all out of whack, and it's kind of like it's better to take a couple hour nap and get back on the 7, 8, 9 o'clock bedtimes or 10 o'clock bedtimes.
Then try to sleep all day
Yeah,
Saturday.
instead of sleeping at 3 and waking up at 12 and not knowing what to do. So those binge sleeping, would watch that. So hopefully you got something out and I didn't ramble on too long.
You're stressing me out, Dr. Fox.
Stressing me out.
Because we're getting ready to talk about stress management. That's the last part of this.
Wow.
You like that segue?
was-
Look at that.
Look at that.
So stress. When we're talking about stress management in teens, the biggest thing when it comes to teens and stress, it's anxiety. We're talking social anxiety, test-taking anxiety, competition, being underprepared, communication. I mean, how many times do teenagers say, "You just don't get me"? Try to learn their language if you're a parent, and if you're a teenager, try to be more understanding with your parents trying to understand you. That can cause a lot of anxiety in the house, and it affects your health. We're also talking about different pressures as puberty starts hitting. You're getting different pressures, and this is happening younger and younger now. Pressures for sex, pressures for drugs. It's a lot easier to get drugs now than it was, 25, 30
Not
years
even
ago.
drugs. I mean, cigarettes were a big stigma, but you could tell someone smoking a cigarette. Now it's a vape pen. And
Right, you can't even tell,
You can't tell.
that a teenager's doing a vape. So, there are different pressures of that, or people, it's like you're part of the group. That can cause anxiety if you really don't want to do it, but you still want to fit in. Also, just the other problems that just come up with puberty, acne and other things that just kind of come through the natural puberty process that can feel like the end of the world, an embarrassment when it really isn't. But that anxiety that builds up from that can really affect your health. So be really careful with anxiety. We're looking to combat that by reframing the incoming challenges that are coming in. You know, study more effectively, be more positive, utilize calming techniques. We talked a little bit about this in the kids video, where it's never too early to learn calming techniques. But with teens, you can go for even more than just, say, breathing exercises and counting exercises, but you can do yoga, you can do water aerobic type things where you're just getting rid of the stress. You know, have an outlet for your stress, sports. Even if it's just like hitting a ball against a wall. You know, I know I used to do that a lot when I was a kid to combat that. Time management is huge. I mean, your parents may be helping to overschedule you, but as a teen, you are starting to learn more responsibility. So we're looking for you to learn what is effective in time in terms of how many hours are in a day and what can you realistically fit within those hours. Again, we'll go back to positive thinking, having different hobbies that you can use that aren't going to completely take tons of time away. You know, video games could be a cool hobby if you're not playing them 6 to 7 hours a day.
Right.
You know, and you could even be on a competitive video game team. It's not necessarily a bad thing to play video games. It's just managing the amount of time that you're on them. Most importantly, find someone you can talk to. Some teenagers find it very easy to be able to talk to their parents. Some don't. If you can't talk to your parents, find somebody, a grandparent, an aunt or an uncle, a trusted friend that you can kind of unload on. And because the teenage years are not easy emotionally, there's a lot of changes going on, and you're trying to stay on top of those changes. In terms of parents of teenagers, we're looking to model good behavior. What do you want to see coming back to you from your teens? Well, they're mirroring you. You know, they're still kids. They're on the way to adulthood, but they're still kids, so they're still watching you.
Oh, they're watching you all the time. I kind of love it, though. When I figured out that this was the time that my boys are looking to me as their dad, not just to be their dad, but to frame what does a man look like? Because they're trying to figure it out. Yeah, I'm not a boy anymore, but I'm not a man either, but let's watch and watch. And it's really fun to catch out of the corner of my eye when they're observing. So be aware that they're watching you. And I'm guessing on the female side, it's the same,
probably the same thing
situation.
As well. You know, and be open to that communication. If they have questions, if they're watching you and they're modeling you, they're going to have some questions. Be open. Try not to shut them down. We're looking to encourage healthy living and responses to different stimuli, especially when it comes to friends. When, you know, teenage friendships can be like this sometimes, where they're testing each other, and it could be a friend, but they'll say something mean, or they'll choose another friend over them on that given day, and the whole world's falling apart. Try to teach them, listen to situations, and try to teach them how to respond a little more maturely, where it's not the end of the world, and it wasn't necessarily them that was causing this whole thing. Monitor TV and internet usage. Again, we're back to screens.
Right.
Who knew? Encourage healthy relationships. That's easier said than done at times because that's not always in your control. You know, try to meet all the friends of your kids, so you know the type of kids, the type of personalities. It might be like Eddie Haskell on Leave It to Beaver sometimes, where you're not getting the whole picture just from meeting the kid, but at least you'll get a sense of it.
Right.
You know,
All the teenagers just went, what?
What do you mean? What's Eddie Haskell?
Who's Leave It to Beaver?
And some of the parents too that
Yeah,
are watching
right.
this are like, what are you talking about? What is Leave It to Beaver?
Yes. It was a show that was made before.
Before
us.
we're not really that
learned it-
old.
Yeah, we're not that old.
But we saw a lot of reruns.
Yes.
And we had no choice because there really wasn't that much on TV back then.
Back then.
And when you need help, if you don't have the answers that you're looking for when dealing with your teenagers, get help. You know, there's the stigmas of old are really going away. There are a lot of really well qualified, non-judgmental professionals that can help you get through trying times with your teenager. And same for teenagers, when things go on and you get really stressed, there are people there that can help you as well.
Absolutely. Wow, that was a lot.
That was a lot.
That was good. Well, guys, that's it for the teens. We went over nutrition, exercise, sleep science, stress management. All great points. Like I said, we've put some bullet points down at the bottom. We've put links. If you got one thing, two things, three things, like us there and make sure you subscribe. Also, I think this series is so important. You know, share them with your colleagues, your friends. This is one of those that we want to get the word out, and this is not to be just taken internally and for us. It's to share with everybody else. So share that.
We want to help. We want to help.
Yeah. So we're going to continue on with the next series. Thanks for staying and watching. And I am Dr. Kevin.
I'm Coach Sean.
We're the FitHealth Pros. Hope you enjoyed it. You guys have a good one.
Thank you.